I used to get bullied horribly as a kid because of, all the different schools that I went to, and dad was a hairdresser, mum wasn't working, or then mum, became a nurse, and, always just being teased for, not having a car. There was a couple of years where there was no car.
Welcome to Medium at Large. I'm David the Medium, and here you can expect some real, raw, and honest conversations around what spirituality actually means to show you that it's not supernatural, it's actually just supernatural. Each week I sit down with some familiar faces from all walks of life to show you how spirituality shows up for them. No filters, no fluff, just raw human stories around belief, doubt, and everything in between. And yes, every now and then, spirit might show up as well. So whether you're deeply spiritual, deeply skeptical, or somewhere in between, you're in the right place. This season of Medium at Large is brought to you by Seroquin, the luxe but affordable skincare line your skin's been thirsting for. With not one, not two, but 5 essential ceramides, yes 5, Seroquin hydrates, restores and protects your precious skin barrier. Say goodbye to dryness, say hello to a healthy radiant glow exclusively at Chemist Warehouse. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Medium at Large. A very special episode today because not only are these two guests beautiful friends of mine, but they are the OG founders of White Fox Real Estate. He is a judge on the block, and together they are married with 3 beautiful children. Welcome to Medium at Large, Marty and Charlotte Fox.
Thank you. First time sitting with Charlotte on a podcast.
I know. I'm so happy, and thank you for coming on. Don't be nervous. We're just going to judge you after the edit, so we'll be all good. No, but like I was saying to you guys off camera, like I've had so many people reach out to me when they want to do podcasts with Marty about wanting to cover a different angle, because obviously every podcast you're on, everyone wants to talk about real estate. They want to talk about business with you and get, the nuggets of wisdom that you're so known for. I have to say, every conversation I have with you, like everything just explodes my mind out. But they always say, what's a different side to Marty? Like, what can we talk about with Marty that shows a different side to him? And I always gatekept it because I was like, if you want to show the cool guy that everyone sees behind the scenes, bring on the family. Yeah. Bring on the real boss.
The actual boss.
The actual boss. So thank you for joining us, Charlotte.
It's okay. I'd do it for you.
Yeah, great. And that's what she said as well. So if you were thinking about getting them on, she wasn't going to do it anyway. So. But we go back a while now because I first met you through Lana Samuels. What the end of 2023, I think it was.
Or 22?
Was it? I was thinking November. 22. I can't work out.
I think it was November 22.
Yeah, perfect.
When you were living in Port Melbourne.
Yeah, I had that.
I think it was the end of COVID.
Loved that apartment.
Yeah, it was a great apartment.
It was very cool.
Yeah, but too big though, which is not usually a problem. But like I left my phone upstairs once, and I just couldn't be fucked going upstairs to get it. I'm like, this is how I know this apartment's not meant for me.
First world problems.
Yeah. So before that though, like, had you ever, like, what was your experience with sort of reading spirituality? Like, I mean, I know when we met, obviously it was for a reading, but had you ever both had one as a joint couple, or have you had experience with it before?
Well, no, what's funny
when we were 18.
Yeah, I flew Charlotte over to New Zealand when she was 18, and we actually saw a clairvoyant together.
Yep.
And she said that you should leave me, didn't she?
So, no, she was doing both of us, and apparently Marty's energy was too strong and was overpowering mine. I'm like, yeah, of course. And he left the room to go to the toilet, and she pulled me aside. So, first of all, she said that we would be together and that we're soulmates. And then she said, he went to the toilet and she's like, by the way, you can have 3 kids with 3 different men. And I was like, what? Oh. I was like, how can I be with him still then? Anyway, long story short, we interpret it as every child we have, he turns into a different man.
Which I actually have.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's grown as a man.
And even through going to Gwingana, like I learned that throughout our relationship, I have changed. Obviously, you develop.
For the better, yeah.
But I've gone through like just cycles of significant growth, not only in business, but within. But even if you go back before that, like, we were dating for a month or so, right? And we're sitting in front of a clairvoyant. So Charlotte's upbringing and my upbringing have been quite similar, where we've always been raised in quite a spiritual, just aware household. Like my mum's grandma was quite clairvoyanty, and so is her mum, and so is my mum, and Charlotte's had that as well. So it was just weird that, we were so early into our relationship.
And I'd never seen one. I'm like, yeah, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how did you two actually meet?
Through
at the SB.
Yeah, through one of his mutual friends.
I love
He
that.
told me to come down, and I said no, and he kept persistent, and then
That's unlike
I
you.
finally went
You hated
down.
me when.
Well, he
when I
was
there.
drunk. He was drunk and silly, and then I went to go. I'm like,
And
oh.
18.
And now he's just
and you were
sober and
17.
And then he's like, oh no, I'll walk you home. I'm like, it's fine. I can walk down Fitzroy Street. I'm used to it. And then anyway, he persisted to walk me home, and then the next day he rocked up at the beach and he was there, of course.
And I thought, like, to show off, I'd show how long I could hold my breath underwater. Like, honestly.
But I wasn't watching.
She wasn't watching.
And you
So
died.
then, No. So then I'm like thrashing in the water, like trying to get my time. And my mate had tapped all the girls on the shoulder and said, let's go up onto the beach. I was in for at least like 3-4 minutes. And they're all up on the sand, laughing at me, thrashing around, pulling up, going, what was my time? And they're all up on the sand, pissing themselves laughing. And she was just like, this guy's a fucking idiot.
But fast forward and look where we are.
I always say, if it's meant to be, it'll be.
All right, still holding my breath.
Yeah, he's been holding his breath for 18 years now. Yeah, and I would word it the same as what you were just talking about. Like, it's just different chapters of life.
Different chapters. And, you know, I learned that through this lady, Suki, that I met, that, you know, particularly, I think it's like it could be like Indian or whatever it might be, but just the cycles that you go through every 7 years. And yeah, it just was fascinating because looking back, I could see those different jumps from security to proving yourself to venturing out to then wanting to create a stable house. And yeah, it's just very, very unique.
Yeah, I love that because I can imagine like Charlotte's kept you in line at the same time as well, but it's also a good grounder just to help see life differently.
I married someone that's got a lot of traits that my mum has, you know, but different personalities. So they've got the same moral compass, the same values, but
she's a bit more fiery than me.
She's very fiery. Well, Charlotte's not fiery.
I can be fiery when I want to.
Yeah, well, no, well, you're a bull. Like when you want to be, you can't be swayed. Is probably
which
the trait that
I'm
attracted to. That I'm attracted to strong women. I've been raised
by strong women.
Women.
Exactly. I'm exactly the same. Because, you know, what I noticed, because obviously I knew of you before we had the opportunity to meet and become friends. And I have to say, like, the public Marty is very similar to the personal Marty, but the personal Marty is so much more deep than maybe people would realize. And I think when you've got such a forward-front sort of extroverted energy, then people maybe always wonder what Charlotte's like, because I guess, you know, I'm honored, but, you know, not many people have had the opportunity to meet you like this.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a really good balance. And I think you just really complement each other very, very well.
Thank you.
But yeah, we all know who the boss is. And I do have to say, I do love your mum, you know, because I've been fortunate to be, you know, become good friends with Linda.
Well, most people think that my mum is Charlotte's mum. Whenever they're out
together.
It's
so weird. They're like, what do you mean Marty's mum? Isn't that your mum? I'm like, it's Marty's mum.
Well, technically, she's your mum.
No, it's, yeah, very fortunate to be able to have, you know, but imagine being a parent and watching your 18-year-old son find this girl overseas. We were living in New Zealand at the time.
He flew me over.
I flew
to meet
this
her.
girl over to meet mum, and to see, you know, 20 years later, the 3 kids, you know, she's seen all the struggles. All of our families have. You know, we started with nothing, and, you know, Charlotte had 3 jobs, holding 5 jobs, holding down, you know, the household income. Like
5
you know,
jobs at once?
Yeah, where were you working?
I was working at Witchery on the weekends. I was working as reception at Dad's Real Estate. Then I was working at Charsfield Restaurant. And then I was also working at GPO promotions, promotional work.
And then promoting it the same on the
weekend.
weekend.
And then on a Saturday night, I'd help out.
Oh gosh, I definitely
I need a drink cards.
Yeah, I know.
I got some good drink cards there.
And I couldn't get a job because it was the GFC. I'd just finished.
And then I got him a job at GPO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that worked well.
Yeah. And then I got sacked from Rococo.
You got sacked from Rococo?
From eating the food.
I was eating leftovers.
Oh.
but
I mean, I probably would.
But do you know what's crazy? My boss at the time, Josh, he's now the owner of Stock Cellar. And now we're great mates. and we laugh about it all the time.
We still laugh about it.
We had a friend come over on the weekend playing pickleball, Alan Iskander, and he goes, mate, I heard this crazy story about you getting sacked from Rococo. Like, tell me about this.
I was like, the one job you had and you've come home and lost it from eating. Like, seriously.
It's economical, really.
No, you take an antipasta platter away. They haven't touched the arancini. I'll eat the arancini.
And it's actually kind of more tasty when it's cold anyway, really.
Yeah.
Even better when it's free.
Yeah, but someone else has touched it.
No one's touched it.
Yeah. But I do have to say, and I think this is a very common misconception that maybe a lot of people do hold about you, Marty, is that they do believe that you've sort of grown up with, everything presented to you, and not like the silver spoon, but kind of like the silver spoon. And I love hearing your trajectory and your story, because it's not only does it reference the tenacity that you've got, but it's the spiritual intelligence, it's the common intelligence that you hold. And then to be able to mix you both together as the couple, and then what you've achieved since. But do you find that like people's misconceptions of you?
Happened last week in Sydney at the Logies, having a really nice breakfast with one of the executives, and he said, I've got to unpolish you to a degree, and I said, no, absolutely not. I have come from absolutely nothing, and to unpolish me is to change the truth. I then showed him photos from when I was 3 and 4 years of age, where my parents have me in these toy cars. One's a 911 Turbo and one's a Ferrari F40. I've always liked those things, but I've grown up in the exact same house as my brother. My brother hates those things. He doesn't really care about those things. We've had the exact same upbringing, but within me, I always loved watches because they reminded me of my great-grandfather who was a watchmaker. I've always loved those cars because for some reason it was just embedded in my brain that to get one of those cars, you had to work. Like you can't just go get one. They're hard to get. So for me, the tangible things don't really matter. But what I love is that they represent the work behind in order to get that. Now, for me, I used to get bullied horribly as a kid because of, all the different schools that I went to, and dad was a hairdresser, mum wasn't working, or then mum, became a nurse, and, always just being teased for, not having a car. There was a couple of years where there was no car. I was dropped to Christchurch Grammar on the back of dad's push bike. So whilst our middle daughter's godfather is a guy that I met as a 5-year-old at that school, and I'm so thankful for my parents putting me into that school. At the end of the day, they couldn't afford to keep me there, so I got kicked out. And I just kept getting kicked out of prestigious schools, Geelong Grammar, Christchurch Grammar, and then I ended up at, Armidale Primary and Toorak Primary. So they put me in certain circles so that I could meet certain people. But at the end of the day, they were hoping that at some point I would do something with those connections. Now, my brother went to those schools as well. And again, we just took 2 different paths. But you now look at us, he's now my CMO. And it took 35 years for us to pull together as a team. And a real beautiful story about 2 brothers that have just been able to finally come back together and go for it. So at no stage has there ever been a silver spoon with Charlotte or myself. And I think that's where we also connected, going through, parents not being together and the certain things that we wanted to give our kids, I think has been instilled by the things that we missed out on. Like I don't ever remember a family dinner at a dinner table. You know what I mean? So when we get a chance to do that on a Sunday, like we cherish it. We go to the market, we get the kids Borax. Like we've got a Sunday ritual that's ours. Like we've corrected some of the things that have made us who we are, which is great, but we're trying to give that now to the next generation of our family.
Yeah, beautiful. And as parents, what do you think is the biggest important lesson to teach your kids in this world at the moment? Like when you're dealing not only with sort of, the struggles of life, of course, but also like, how do we nurture their creativity and, their aspirations in a society that can also be very based on the tall poppy syndrome and things like that, and jealousy around their lives. So what do you feel like is the biggest lesson that you want to really focus on teaching all 3 of them at the moment, given that they're at also different stages of life?
I guess like Freddie's going through a few phases. He was in a bit of a rut recently. And I guess giving that self-confidence is really, really important for us as well, because he needs to stand up for himself. Like you can't get walked over or bullied or whatever unless you stand up for yourself. Giving him some tools that we knew, like I knew as a kid, I got bullied to an extent, but the things that I did actually overcame that, and then they ended up coming back to me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to teach Freddie to do that, which has actually been working, standing up for them as well as parents. If like a teacher's wrong or out of line, we pull them up. And
like there was a teacher out of line last week and we pulled them up. And
it's not really in my nature to do that, but at the same time I will for my kids if I have to. And I think they really appreciate that because they're like, oh, well, mum and dad's got my back like always. And I just want them to always know that. Because I think
she does that for me as well. Like
important.
Charlotte knows when I'm being rinsed or I'm being walked all over, and she'll say, hey, something's not right here. And sometimes I'm like, fuck, you bang on. And then I don't know, because I'm so like 0 to 100 and Charlotte's very, very measured.
And he also lets everyone in. Like, he's got his heart on his sleeve straight away off the bat. And I guess I'm a bit more reserved in that respect. I like to get to know people before I really let them in. But once they're my friend forever. Do you know what I mean? I treat them like family. So I guess he teaches me to kind of put myself out there a bit, and I teach him to kind of, stop, trusting everyone, because you never know, especially in his career. Like, yeah, there's been obstacles that we've had to get through.
I think what I do with the kids is like we're actually quite different with how we parent, but we've got the same values.
Yeah.
So, I'll pull them aside. Like last night, Charlotte was like, "How did you get Bonnie down?" And I was like, "Well, I grabbed a little mini drumstick, to be honest with you, and we laid in bed, like, and she had a bite, and then I had a bite, and then she had a bite, and then I had a bite." So like,
I was like, "You did what?"
And I'll pull them aside.
Well,
all
no,
the time.
it took me 20 minutes to get a.
And I'll like pull Freddie aside and be like, "Hey, Fred, just so that you know, you're my favorite, you're the best." But I'll tell them all. And what will happen is they'll all get to 15, 16, 17, whatever it might be, and they'll all think that they're dad's favourite. But then they'll all be like, "Oh, he said that to you every night as well?"
But they'll never trust the man again.
Well, no, I try and make them feel very special.
Yeah.
And like one thing that I've always done with Fred is I've always said, "Fred, you are the best. Like, I think that you are the best." And that I try and build his confidence up. And not also, so that he's delirious.
No, well, that's it, because they're not.
But I was told, I was told all the time that I was going to do something special. You're great. You're capable. So for me, I always knew, okay, maybe I am.
And I always got told, you can only try your best. And that's all, I always say that to them as well. And just keep trying. Like, don't give up. I guess.
The language towards you was far more humble. The language towards me was like, you can fucking go for it. And that's why, we are quite balanced in terms of just how different we are, but how similar we think.
Yeah, and also I guess independence at the moment I'm trying to teach the kids as well, to do as much things for themselves. So then when they get to the age, they know what to do. They know how to, make their bed, and just little things, they all add up.
Yeah. Well, I saw Olive yesterday and she had this little checklist.
I taught her how to do a to-do list. She was so cute.
She loves this to-do list.
Well, that's it. Yeah. But I guess as parents, we only see, our own lives through our own perspective. So when it comes to raising our children,
well, I taught him how to do a to-do list, and look at him now.
Well, I was about to say,
loves
it.
It's
working well.
How's that?
I did.
Okay. I met you at 18, and now you're saying
I did.
No, you taught me goal setting.
Yeah, goal setting.
Which
is like a to-do list.
In a list form.
Yeah, and now you're obsessed with doing it.
I'm fucking obsessed.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Because, we cast it back to the very first time I met you guys, and when we did our readings, and, I hope you don't mind me talking about it, Marty, but it was sort of like you were going through like a really sort of big transformative stage in life where you're feeling a bit sort of burnt out. And, I know you just referenced Gwyngarna. Was that the very first time you ever went there in 2022?
Yeah, it was one of the team members at White Fox who got me the ticket, spoke to Charlotte, said we're going to send him away. He needs to cool the jets. And I was transitioning from being a real estate agent at 35 years of age to then being a CEO because of my health.
Yeah.
My body broke down, too high in cortisol. And, like Charlotte said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So when I'm in a deal, particularly when it's real estate, I've got a high EQ. So I feel what the clients are feeling, and I'm in it. So to remove myself out of the transaction and to focus on the company, to focus on weekends with Charlotte and the kids, people thought I lost the plot because people don't step back at 35
and do that. Yeah,
no, they put their foot down on the gas, which I was doing, but they couldn't see it at the time. So there was a big transition of energy, mindset, self-doubt. It was the first time I'd felt self-doubt since high school.
And that was just because you didn't know how it was going to turn out, or what was that based on?
We lost half the company. Agents were walking out because they came to White Fox to want to work alongside me. So the moment I started sitting in an office with a CFO, they thought I'd lost the plot. And I was trying to crack the code on what it was that White Fox was offering agents.
It was actually a blessing in disguise, because it made him step back and the leaders to step up and learn how to do his job as well. And then that's how Lana came, and Michael Tokazo, they all stepped up, and they really.
But this was the best part. Like when I wanted to start,
they really took control of it, which was good.
I was working with Charlotte's dad, who's also our chairman at White Fox. But I was working with Charlotte's dad in a partnership, and there was just constant like arguments just because we're just different gens.
Yeah, different.
And it got to the point where like I was doing a lot of business and I'd have ideas and, like social media and videos, and it would just fall on deaf ears. And Charlotte's dad and the partners just, they just weren't adopting it to the pace that I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlotte was the one that said, can you stop being a fucking soft cop and just
I
do
just
White
said,
Fox?
I'd rather you leave Dad now before it gets damaging to the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
He'll deal with it. I know he will. He might not speak to you for 6 months, but...
Which he didn't.
He wasn't invited to a few family dinners. But then, I was like, you've got to do this for yourself and our family, and he'll eventually understand that. And it's obviously not a good fit. You keep, butting heads with each other.
But that was
if you can't grow. And he was so
Okay,
innovative.
yeah.
He wanted to do all these things, and they were old school, and it would have been scary for them because they would have been like, what the hell are you on about?
Well, that's it. We only see it through our own reality.
They weren't wrong. It's
White
just
Fox was the first ones to do the videos and all of that loud stuff and
100%.
online.
That's how I found you on social media was all the videos
I was like,
saw.
just do White Fox. You've always wanted to do it.
But that vote of confidence then made me go, all right, we can do it. And we had Freddie, Charlotte was giving birth to Freddie like a month after we opened. So Charlotte was like, it's all good. I've got this shit down pat. We had 2 or 3 mortgages at the time. We were mid-reno in Red Hill as well.
Stressful.
And then Graham, Charlotte's father, then put me on gardening leave. So I couldn't even make money for 6 months. So I had to go through it. And from 2016, when you said that, there wasn't another one of those votes of confidence until it got time to sort of step back. And the big thing with being in real estate, you talk about the money that the top agents make. For me, I was probably 2 years in a row taking home between about $3 million a year. And as the business owner, I'm not halving that with anyone. It was us. So Charlotte said, you've got to fucking do it. Put it this way. And I'll never forget you saying it. You said, we started in a 1-bedroom, and let's just say if it all went to shit and we went back to a 1-bedroom apartment, we'd get back here anyway, and I'll be there. So I had this really great feeling that, okay, if I stopped, because I went cold turkey, I wasn't maybe seeing clients here and there. I went full cold turkey because Charlotte said, if we lost it all, it doesn't matter because we can come back, and we'll probably do it in half the amount of time anyway. Normally, I would perceive the wife to think the opposite, to go, fuck, I don't want to lose the big house. I don't want to lose the fancy car. And Charlotte said, honestly, if we have to be back in Ruby the Red Rocket, which was the little Toyota Nova or the Holden Nova, fake Toyota Corolla,
my grandmother had one of those. The Holden Nova, and it was red.
Yeah, ours was red.
So
a red Holden Nova.
I owned the.
We got it for $1,200, $600 each.
Imagine if we ended up buying. Hey, we bought it from Balaclava.
What year was this?
Oh, this was when we first moved.
It was
together,
probably
2018.
It's 2015 we got it.
2008. It was 2008.
So it would have been about 2010.
But moral of the story was,
it's nuts.
I know how hard it is to build a brand, because I don't think that there would be other wives of other men in the field making $3 million a year
that can support
that would say, hey, fuck it. We've got 2 kids. Fuck it. Just run the gauntlet. Because if we lose it all, I'm not leaving you. Because guess what? I was with you when you had nothing anyway.
That's it.
So that to me was the most crucial moment professionally.
You can take it wherever you want. Yeah.
I now know I've got no fear.
Yeah.
There is no fear because I can't fail, because she loves the kid that she met.
She's seen the real you. Exactly.
Happy days.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky to have that.
No such thing as luck. I say that to everyone. It's all alignment. This is why I wanted to do this. I knew this would just be full of wisdom. I do want to circle back on something that you said, because obviously, we fast forward to 2022, you're feeling burned out because you've been juggling so much and trying to do it all. And then with obviously wearing your heart on your sleeve and being able to take a step back. But now since then, White Fox has got so big. How many offices? You've got 14 offices now, is it? As of now?
That to open.
I think 15. 15. There's probably another 3 opening this year.
Yeah.
So and Northern Hemisphere in the next 3 to 6 months.
You heard it here first. Well, you probably heard it on yours first as well. But but to translate that, like with wearing your heart on the sleeve and sort of taking a roll step back, how do you find now managing, because obviously having personal relationships with all your officers and also, personal and professional relationships with all the staff, how do you find managing that, like their stresses and everything that they're going through, not only in a work perspective, but also the personal perspective? Because I would say, looking at it from the outside, as a CEO and founder, you've also probably got more of a personal relationship with your staff than maybe other real estate agents would as well.
Yeah, there's layers. And I think this year we implemented layers that actually gave people, like what people loved about White Fox when there was 20 or 30 team members was that it was just an even playing field. When you get to 120 odd staff and you get, in excess of 30, 40, 50 million revenue, you need layers, because people are coming there as a destination company. They're not coming there to learn a couple of things. They're coming there to see themselves there for the next 20, 30 years, which is what I want. So this year we implemented different tiers so that people knew who to go to for certain things. The back end's amazing, but this is agent specific. So for instance, if anyone's got a direct line into me, there's an issue. I will break. I can't respond to 120 odd people. No, yeah. So having business partners that understand the different layers of command, really, it's because they need leadership. So if there's something that's marketing related, there's a team for that. Yeah. If it's deal mechanics related, there's a team for that. If it's disciplinary, there's a team for that. So what we've built are these incredible teams that are all interconnected because it's the same headquarters for every office. And we've got 11 family members in the business. We've got, 16, 17 JV partners that are like friends that you know everything about. So for us, it's about everyone being treated equally, but they're not being equal lines of communication, because that's impossible. You can't keep up with it. So it's very structured now, and it's the structure that sets you free. Because let's just say Lana, I adore Lana, but Lana won't call me for certain things because she knows that I'm not going to give her the answer. There's certain things that she needs to crack the code on herself within her position in the company. Now, if she's in a real pickle, that's why there's other things that are set up. For instance, every Tuesday at 7:00, I walk the town with Lana. It makes her happy. Whereas certain other people, they've got their own little sort of quirks with me. And as a business partner, that's what you do. Like, to keep a marriage together is hard. You've got to keep learning things.
That was my next.
To keep a business relationship together, it's hard. You've got to have certain things, and you can't actually treat those moments the same. They're not equal because everyone's a little bit different. It's just the way that it is, and you've got to figure out what people want. Charlotte knows what I want. I know what Charlotte wants.
Perfect. As we're talking, my heart's getting a bit sore as well. How's your heart going at the moment? Like, we don't even have to include this in the
It's strong.
Yeah, I just got sharp. It's not a warning. Like, when I talk about health, it's not saying that anything's going to happen. I'm just getting sharp pains through there.
Love pains.
Love for who? Everyone.
Everyone.
It's whoever you're facing. Oh, I like it.
The producers are just loving the episode.
They're all asleep. No. Time for a quick break to talk about Cerequin's Hydrating Cream Cleanser with salicylic and hyaluronic acid. It gently lifts away dirt and makeup without stripping your skin. Salicylic acid exfoliates, hyaluronic acid hydrates, and your skin stays clean, calm, and balanced. And like every Cerequin product, it's powered by 5 essential ceramides, available now at Chemist Warehouse. It wouldn't be a David Medium podcast without obviously bringing forward some things at the same time, but I'm saying this to both of you off camera because I've been fortunate enough to, read for you both multiple times, but even just when we catch up, like, stuff comes forward. They're actually sort of throwing the energy back on both of you. And I know that you've got a really big, everyone that knows you knows you've got a really big sort of 12 months ahead. But, one of the biggest questions I like to ask, and this is purely from not materialistic, but I guess from a structural perspective, like, if we fast forward 12 months, in concrete visions, like, where do you both see yourselves? Like, what
concrete,
like
12 months from now.
Yeah. Not like aspirations, like, what do you want? From a professional and personal.
You can answer this one first.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you start.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Really?
You're the engine, she's the driver.
Yeah.
I think the biggest changes are 24 months from now because there's a bit more up in the air.
I think gearing up for that.
I think gearing up for that is very important.
Because you're going to get I don't know whether this has come up or not, but you're going to get a very interesting offer around the United States at the end of the year.
So yesterday I actually had a FaceTime for half an hour with a gentleman that runs an extremely large real estate brand in America, 48 offices across the States.
Okay.
And yesterday he asked whether or not I would, look at doing something with him in America. So that was yesterday.
Okay.
For me, the US isn't on my goal list, my checklist, my to-do list.
It's not on it. No, it's not.
Until 2030.
Okay.
But I essentially know everything that I want to achieve because Charlotte's got her goals, but my business and personal ones up until 2030. Beyond that, I don't know. But I've got a very, very good grasp of what's happening this year, next year, up until 2030.
Yeah.
And the underpinning of those goals is clearly the growth of the business. The business is still an innovator 8 years in. It's still a market leader 8 years in. It's still engaging people 8 years in. It's still giving agents that point of difference 8 years in. So for me, feeding that business and for the first time ever, I've realized that the business is so much bigger than what we've been doing for 15 years, which is flipping property. This is the first time where home is probably home, and we bought a property earlier this year which was subject to the sale of our own property, so we had an out clause, and it's the first time now that we don't have to constantly flip in order to generate personal wealth. We're now at that point where the business is so robust that we can really double down and give regions and great operators the magic that we have in the back end, which affects what they do in the front end in real estate. And for me, it's act local, think global. So all of our offices, they think local. They're local weapons. But in the HQ's mindset, it's about servicing them, but also thinking global, because it's that reach that will create what we believe will be the only privately owned global real estate brand that's non-franchised. And that in itself is a really cool thing to try and achieve. The only way that you can achieve that is if you've got marketing pillars that are hard to replicate. You've got a company that's founder-led because it's a story and people buy into the story. And then if you mix in the reach of reality TV, that's then when it doubles down and it 10x's. So at some point in the next 12 to 18 months, there would be that element thrown in, which is quite scary for very private people such as Charlotte. But at the end of the day, there's so much that we're doing that's accessible anyway.
Well, so because you have been teasing in the media recently that there could be reality TV coming.
There's just been a lot of conversations and a lot of opportunities put forward. But it comes down to the right structure.
And if it works out, it works out.
If it doesn't.
I do have to say, with whatever's coming next, like, because recently you're at the Logies, of course, nominated for the block, so congratulations. But you'll win one, but it's not going to be with the block. So whatever's coming into the future, whether it's TV, whether it's presenting, whether it's anything like that, there's something there with you holding.
Exciting.
Kind of looks like a Grammy, but I don't think you break
I'll be able to come next time.
I know, you never get bloody invited.
Yes, well, I didn't. I'm still waiting for my invite as well. So yeah, because even as you were talking, then they had you holding a golden statue. So
cute.
And that's a gold one, not even a silver
Hey.
one. No, we don't do silver.
Just go straight for the gold.
Yeah, it's like the Hall of Fame. You're 88 years old, unfortunately, but like we get there eventually. No, I think it's exciting. So it's around, like, I want to sort of segue into the spiritual aspect of things because, and I talk about this quite regularly for myself personally because 95% plus of my clients, my followers, and the engagement for me predominantly is female based. And then what I've noticed over the years is when I am fortunate enough to be able to read for male clients, they're always really aspirational and they're always really driven and are able to see outside the box. So the question that I sort of have for you directly, Marty, is why in not necessarily your experience, because I can appreciate you're really open to it, but from the view of a male, Why do you think guys in particular are more sort of closed off to seeing elements of spirituality and involving that in their life?
I think that it's perceived as very feminine, and it might be weak, and it's a bit woo-woo.
Yeah, so explore that a bit more. How do you see it as weak? Like, obviously, I know that you don't, but like, why do you think guys would see it as like that?
I think it stems from having a close relationship with your mum. I think that that's a big thing.
The feminine.
So if your mum happens to be a little bit more stoic or a bit more hard love, it doesn't really go hand in hand with that huge spiritual side. You know, and it's not something like you think of tribes. It's very big in tribes, and they're as manly as they get. You know, the Maori tribes and African tribes and all these different tribes, right? Samurais and stuff, whatever it might be. They're all killers. They're all spiritual and they're all manly. So it's actually the opposite. But for some reason, it's just been a behavior that's very hard to quantify. So everyone's wanting to measure everything. Everyone's wanting certainty. But yet life isn't certain. So why wouldn't you lean into the spiritual side if half the things that you see anyway is fucking fugazi as it is?
Yeah.
So I think it stems from a mother's upbringing. Particularly if there's trauma, because normally when there's trauma, people look for something that's outside of the physical. So if the parent has had a traumatic life, then there's probably going to be prayer or rituals or something because they're trying to find the answers. They can't get them from the physical. I had that. Charlotte's upbringing had that. So that's just the way that it is. Now, let's just go to a straight 180 family in Camberwell, 5 kids, everyone's gone to private school, whatever it might be, as an example. Dad's a lawyer, mum's a neurosurgeon, whatever. How much of that household would be involved in spiritual discussions and so forth? I don't think many.
Yeah, by and large, yeah.
Just by and large, because they're trained to be very literal and they're trained to be factual and precise. So when does a family like that ever talk about like a ghost down the hallway? They'd be like, a ghost? What are you doing?
Yeah, even seeing things outside the box.
Yeah. No, I remember growing up and mum being like, hey, there's a ghost over there. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, come here, I've got to sage you. Because the ghost's like, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what do you mean there was a ghost, mum? She's like, just trust me. There's a fucking ghost in that room. Don't go in that room. Like, I've got that. I've got these memories. So
Linda and I do pick up on the same things as well.
Yeah,
so
yes, you guys do.
Even recently.
So it's like nature and nurture. They're both so important, and
I've noticed some men are quite scared as well.
Well, that's it, because that's where I want to go with it.
Freaks them out.
I mean, you've got to be more scared of the living than the dead.
I know.
Oh, isn't that true? Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
But even from my own perspective, when I look at it, the most successful males I know, and I can appreciate it depends on how we define success as well. But if we're going to look at it from a business or financial perspective, or from the element of professional achievement, all the successful men that I know are all very open to receiving spiritual guidance or looking at things from outside the box.
Yeah.
The ones that are the most fearful in it seem to be the ones that are most egotistical, or it sort of feels like that there's this element of, well, if I can't see it directly, then I'm not going to focus on it because I can't.
They close
They're
it
very
off.
black and white.
Yeah,
So
they
it's very
close it
black and
off
until they have
away.
a traumatic experience, and then something might change.
Exactly right. So I think it's just a really good lesson that you don't have to base your whole life on it. Like, that's the thing, but it's the element of the spiritual toolkit. Exactly.
It's like the way that we see. Okay,
I see it quite comforting. I think it's nice. Yeah.
But like even Charlotte on the way in here, there's been a bit of a family emergency, and the family saw a clairvoyant yesterday to make a decision on something medical, which is life and death. So instead of just coming up with a solution, like Charlotte and the family actually went and got guidance from spirit, like to make a decision that could affect every person within their life. So
and that's the thing.
You can use it to your advantage.
Well, that's it. And I also feel like when we're reaching out to, psychics or clairvoyants for extra guidance, like in a lot of ways it is revalidating what we already feel. But if you've got someone that you can trust, or someone that whose opinions that or not opinions, but even guidance that you received before that you can listen to and you know that it's been correct, it's just that extra element of guidance. So
correct.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that conversation, because I think there's such a missing target audience with males in particular.
Mm.
And if you can look at people, I'm looking at the camera now, but if you look at people like Marty or even some of the other entrepreneurs that I've been able to read for, like even Elon Musk, for example, he times his whole schedule around the moon.
Yeah, but you got to also think of, true, like fuck, the full moon last week had me going nuts.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, you know, you've also seen, you know, photos of people in our lives and just given a few heads up. So like I actually have utilized your skills from a business perspective that's not, you know, about me.
And we've also got some cool backstories with even like my live shows and stuff like that. You've been guests at my live shows.
Wild. You know,
the Melbourne one, the very first Melbourne show I did, the very last person who bought a ticket to that ended up working for you.
Crazy.
You know, we're in the audience at the Sydney Opera House. Like you ended up,
I know, it's
one of the people I read for. Like you're connected with them. Like
I feel like the more open you are to it, the more it comes to as well.
Well, that's my next point that I wanted to make. Like this is the thing with people that maybe are a little bit closed-minded to, which I can appreciate skepticism because I was one. And I can appreciate that it is very different because I wasn't raised, pardon me, in a religious household or a spiritual household.
Yeah, but I'll give you an example. You know, when I first met you, you said to me from spirit, stop weighing on the blue soap.
From your baba.
From my baba. Now you can't research that. You can't find that. No one knows that. Not even my dad knows that. And you've said that sentence to me. That's the first thing that I would do walking into her house. I'd go to a particular toilet that she had a blue piece of soap stuck to the thing. I'd wee on the blue soap, make the whole thing blue, and I wouldn't flush it because I used to find it funny. So the fact that even comes out of your mouth like that, it's just interesting.
Yeah,
and you can't make that up. So again, the spiritual side can be used for, you know, your own gratification in terms of like understanding where things are going or things that you think will happen, but also from a business sense, you know, I just see it as that you've just got your street smarts turned up that extra dial. You know, to get certain stations, you have to hit a certain frequency.
Doing a better myself. And I always think as well, it is like a muscle. The more that you train it, the more that you strengthen it, the better it will get in life as well. So even for guys to be able to use their intuition in it. Like I think
intuition and gut feel is all energy.
Exactly.
And then when it's confirmed by, you know, you or something else, it's like, okay, cool.
But why is it when people meet people, they go, I don't fucking like him?
Yeah. And this is
why?
the thing.
Why don't you like him? Let's get a bad vibe.
But every guy says that. Is? Yeah.
Vibe is an energy.
Well, that's it. It's the body having a physical reaction to the energy of the environment. So... No,
and it's invisible, but you still feel it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot happening in the invisible realm, categorically, that some people can tap into and some people can't. And you're the messenger for those items that the common man or woman can't see.
Yeah, and I appreciate you talking about that as well, because even when you
it's scientific.
Well, it is. At the end of the day, every living thing is energy and we have physical reactions to it. So it's sort of like, it goes without saying, if the physical body crosses over, like the energy of what made that human doesn't cease.
Yeah, but that body also has a shift in weight.
Exactly right.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's got everything. Yeah.
So something happens.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I appreciate you talking about it, because every time, you know, even when you've mentioned it on social media, like even the people that maybe don't necessarily understand it, or they haven't had experience with it because they have trust and faith in you, they're all like, oh, okay, I need to go see David. I need to book in. Like they follow. So I was like, feel free to post about me every Friday if you want. But like, yeah. No, so I think...
And I don't even get a kickback.
No, well, you know, not publicly. No, no, so I think, yeah, it's a really interesting period at the moment, because I'm noticing a lot more guys in particular. And, you know, the females, I always say, I mean, you know, female intuition is more intrinsically in tune than males anyway. So females are a lot more open to it. I mean, you've got a womb that, without something like a Byron Bay woo-woo, it's connected with another portal, because, you know, it's all energy. So I think the next chapter is really about bringing the guys into it. Because other cultures, as you mentioned, even the real tribal masculine ones, or even subcontinental cultures, they all understand it. It's just Western that's a little bit sort of behind the times here.
Yeah.
But moving forward, because again, as I'm talking, there's just a real big focus. Now, it has to be an interstate office. It's not a warning, but if there's been any electrical issues in any of the interstate offices, now it may have just happened. It may be coming up where they're referencing lighting issues or flickering, or even just the elements of rewiring. I want that to get looked at, because there's actually a little bit of a fire risk in those offices. So has that happened recently? No. So pay attention to that over the coming weeks. They may mention that the lights are just playing up a little bit.
Right.
Don't leave it.
Okay.
Well, there's 2 renos happening right now. So Essendon and Applecross.
I just supplied the lights.
Yeah, you did.
What's not
That's
you?
all right.
Actually, good segue, Charlotte, because like I remember when we first met, and this is, the perfect example of that strong feminine that can support and help lead. One of the things that we talked about was also how you can branch off into doing things that you find interesting that can also support everything else as well. So how is the lighting going? Because I know that we talked about this when I first met you about, interior design and doing lighting fixtures and all that, because I've seen some of them and they're incredible.
Thank you.
So you are still working?
I'm her number one customer.
Yeah,
I keep opening offices.
He keeps taking me away from it because he wants me to do all the offices. So I've just been he's been keeping me busy with that. Next
and you hate
year,
dealing with people. The moment she's no, I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth. Right? People are like, oh yeah, I'll speak to Charlotte, and then Charlotte isn't like a hard seller. She's like, this is the fucking light you need. Trust me, that's the light you need, right? And then they come and go, oh, but I don't know about that. And she's like, I can't be fucked. If you can't see the light that you fucking need, then I don't want to. So
I'm happy to do our own personal things.
Yeah, Charlotte just doesn't like dealing with people, and at the end of the day, I trust what she says, so I'm an easy customer. I go, I
but
love
they
it.
Look fucking good though.
They
like
look
every light I've seen, I was like,
but
incredible.
Charlotte's like, oh my god, like fucking hell, how do people deal with people? And I'm like, you know what? You wiped asses as a nurse at the Alfred for enough years. You can just take a chill pill and do the renos. And
the kids are all at school together next year, so
that will help with
I'll
freeing
be
up
coming
time.
into HQ to sort him out.
Well, so this is it though, because even what we're getting from up there, I mean, your pop's coming forward as well, which I read through reading. God, if I didn't know that your father was Earthside, I would look at him as your father. Like, it's just the most beautiful energy coming from your grandfather there. But this is it, because it's probably not a surprise to you, Marty, but next year is going to involve even more travel than it does this year, and a lot of that is international. So it's sort of the burden's the wrong word, but the burden always falls on the partner or the wife with keeping everything grounded when you're out grounding everything else. So
Charlotte's the conductor of the routine.
That's it,
and
you're the foundation of it all.
Yeah, the routine's so clear, and you're pretty hectic with it.
There's going to be a real business role for you next year. There really is. Like, it's real business energy for you next year. Whether it's even further exploring other passions that you have, which maybe isn't it right now because you can't be bothered dealing with people, but like especially within.
She's so good at reading people.
That's
so like
it.
Particularly when we're growing, like Charlotte will say this person's not right, or she'll say they're fucking weak, or she'll say they're fucking great, or she'll just say it. And she won't go back on it. Very rarely minces the words.
Have you ever disagreed with any of it?
All the time.
All the time. Every time.
Have you been proven wrong every time?
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. So I just think with the growth, just having somebody there, it's kind of like having like an in-house mole. Like, the person that can find the holes and.
Which Shura was the host of, by the way.
How funny is that?
I know.
It's his last day today.
Is it? Yeah. He's leaving.
He's leaving.
Oh, I didn't know.
So he'll be back in a year.
Yeah, we all said
But that's like a skill where you can have somebody that can't be swayed, that can see where there's a problem and go, hey, Marty, this is going to happen. And you always see it 3, 6, 9, 12 months in advance.
Strength of intuition. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You don't need me anymore.
Dangerous combination.
Yes. Well, my whole throat blocked when we said that. So that's lack of communication from me. No, so I'm excited for next year. I think talking about it in a really broader sense. Like,
I wish there was a better word for mole, but it's like.
No, people knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah.
No. Not an actual mole.
Yeah, not an actual mole.
No, yeah.
My great mole.
The internal spy, the intuitive spy.
Yeah.
Intuitive
in-house spy.
Investigator.
Yeah.
Yes.
And smells bullshit a mile away. Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. This is another lesson for every entrepreneurial or every businessman. It's like involve the females in your life because, again, from a spiritual perspective, they're going to see things that we necessarily aren't open to because we all operate on different frequencies.
I miss half of it.
Bring that woman into it.
I miss half. I'm playing 6 and 9 and 12 months ahead.
Yeah.
Charlotte's like planning 6 minutes ahead.
Yeah.
Trying to weigh up whether or not you actually are fucking legit or not.
Yeah. I love that.
And I get lied to 24/7.
From whom?
No one tells the truth to the CEO.
Well, from a business perspective.
Yeah, from a business, I get all the fluff, and I like. I'm like, oh, it's fantastic. Right, you're going to do that?
Great,
by all means, go for it.
Now, one thing I do want to talk about is Dubai, because even when I first met you both years ago, like that was one of the very first things we talked about. Now, I'm going to put it out there. I can see Lina Samuels working and living there one day. I know she's not in the room to answer that, but. What's the move? Like, if you could open up any office in the world tomorrow and knew there would be a success, what's your target market right now, anywhere in the world?
It'd be Dubai.
Yeah, perfect. And why is that?
I just see it as a region of the world which is very clear on its objectives, right? It's so clear on what it wants to achieve, and we're in real estate. Now, in real estate, there's two sides that are always trying to get money. Right? The seller's trying to get more money and the buyer's trying to spend less money. When you look at a country like Dubai, the big developers, they don't care about money. Think about this. They just want trust. They want the world to trust the Middle East. So when you've got the ability to market the way in which we market and connect in the way in which we connect, and when you look at the vast majority of agencies that have gone into Dubai, they're all from the outskirts of the UK. Right? So they're a little bit more brash, and there's some really amazing operators, but the majority don't have hiring policies. Anyone can go get a job. It doesn't matter, right? As long as you can breathe and you put on a suit and you can do up your buttons, you're in. We've got very, very strict hiring policies. Like there's a certain way that we want our teams to be in every region. Now, if we drop that finesse and class and marketing expertise into a country and a region such as the Middle East, and particularly Dubai, we've got something very unique. Australia and New Zealand.
Downloads as you're talking. Yeah, sorry.
Australia and New Zealand have to pretty much predominantly go via Dubai and Singapore on their way to Europe, which the luxury market does once every 1 or 2 years. Now, we're the only national boutique brand in Australia and New Zealand that's privately owned. We're selling 2,000 odd properties a year. We're meeting hundreds of thousands of buyers per year. There's so many connections that happen to be in Dubai. We need to leverage that, and we need to be a voice that shows how good the Middle East is from a tax perspective, from a safety perspective, from a livability perspective. No one's actually done that, and I see that as the opportunity for us to be able to do that, and for me in particular to be a bit of a voice for that. So you combine developers that aren't worried about money, and I want to go back to that. They just want trust. Okay? So the easy part is the sell, because ultimately the people that are going there are wanting to see something that they can't get in their own country, something that they're not getting in the UK, right? Safety. Something that they're not getting in Australia, taxes. Something that they're not getting in other regions, right? Community. There's a lot of really strong pillars that support a healthy life. And it's happening there. I see the Middle East as America of the 80s.
You're going to be, honestly, one of the first internationals as we're talking. And there's something about Saudi.
Really?
Like, and I mean, Jeddah will be the new Dubai. But even as you're talking, all I was seeing was green and white, which is the Saudi flag. So I'm excited to see what happens there, because, you know, even when there's a branch off into the Middle East for White Fox, I reckon you're going to be one of the first internationals that will also go into Saudi.
Yeah, I mean,
which is very cool.
I see that there's Dubai, there's Saudi, there's Abu Dhabi, and at the end of the day, it is not stopping. So you can't keep
like you said, America of the 80s.
It's America of the 80s. You can't keep
analogy.
up. You can't keep up. Their households in the UK, for instance, you know, they're having 1.2 kids per couple. In the Middle East, they're having 8.
Do you want 8?
No. Look, I'm more than happy to practice.
Oh, God.
But at the end of the day, it seems like such an opportunity. And the best part is Charlotte's all for an adventure. Like, even though she's conservative by nature, she's married a madman. And that's what keeps
we can bring out the mad woman.
He keeps me entertained.
Well, 100%. I don't think anyone that you've ever met has not been entertained. Well, where can everyone find you on social media? For those who want to follow. Everyone's
Marty
following
Fox
you already, surely.
The podcast is fun.
Yeah, the Fox?
With the Fox.
With the Fox, pardon me.
But yeah, just if you see an arch board and, you're thinking of doing something, call the team.
That's it. Guys, you heard it there first. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy?
Yeah, it was
Great to
fun.
have you on, Charlotte.
Thank you.
I reckon she's going to be a podcaster now. She's going to start her own podcast.
No.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.